At 2 a.m., Shruti wakes up to a ping from her phone. The glowing screen reveals a single message: "Come downstairs." It was sent from the phone of her husband, Siddharth, the man she buried weeks ago. Shruti finds his SUV idling in the dark parking garage, completely empty. As she leans into the cabin to investigate, the heavy doors click shut. The central locking system engages from the inside, pinning her against the seat. She scrambles for her phone to call for help, but the messages from Siddharth have vanished from the screen. Searching the glove compartment for a manual release, she finds his actual phone tucked away right next to the handgun he used to take his own life. Trapped in the dark, Shruti is left to determine if she is being hunted by a restless spirit or if her husband's suicide was the final act in a much larger, more calculated deception. Siddharth's hidden phone contains dozens of secret photographs of a local librarian named Nisha. These aren't posed shots. They are candid, obsessive captures taken over months. Shruti tracks Nisha down at the city central library, seeking the predictable details of a secret affair. Nisha describes an encounter that was erratic and violent rather than romantic. Siddharth took her to a house in the woods, began choking her, then abruptly stopped, muttering that it wasn't working, before driving her home in silence. Following Siddharth's trail into the forest reveals a dangerous, obsessive mission that far exceeds the simple betrayal of an affair. Shruti and Nisha navigate deep into the dark forest. At the coordinates of that final strange meeting, they find a charred, skeletal house, hidden far from any marked road. Inside, the architectural layout is a perfect mirrored inversion of Shruti's own home. Every wall and doorway is built backward, creating a disorienting, dark reflection of her living room. A bright red wooden doll hangs precisely in the center of the ruins, suspended over a patch of disturbed earth. Nisha identifies the missing library book Siddharth kept until his death, the Agor Shastra. Between the red doll and the inverted architecture, the hallmarks of forbidden tantric magic are unmistakable. This skeletal house functions as a precise physical trap for an unknown entity. 4 years ago, Shruti's heart stopped for 13 minutes. According to the Agor Shastra, death remains tethered to those who survive fatal accidents, eventually returning to claim the life it was denied. Confusion is the first line of defense. The ritual requires building an exact, inverted physical replica of the target's home to disorient the entity when it returns. The second step provides a substitute. The practitioner must find a sacrifice who matches the target's age and stature, burying them directly beneath the inverted structure. Finally, a red wooden decoy doll is hung above the burial site to lock the entity's focus onto the wrong soul, theoretically freeing the original target. Siddharth's descent into murder was a horrific attempt to save Shruti. Every crime he committed was a desperate effort to shield her from an inevitable fate. Shruti pulls back the floorboards beneath the hanging doll, uncovering the rotting corpse of the look-alike Siddharth successfully sacrificed months earlier. She flees the forest and locks herself back in her car, but the vehicle's electronics override her control, trapping her in the cabin once again. The phone in the glove box rings. The voice on the line is a hollow manifestation of the darkroom, the very entity her husband died trying to distract. The complex ritual failed. When the substitute wasn't enough, Siddharth offered his own life as a final distraction, but the entity has simply followed his trail back to Shruti. The entity uses Siddharth's voice to needle her conscience, whispering that the only way to stop the deaths of innocent people like Nisha is to use the gun in the glove box. It argues that her suicide is a logical necessity to close the loop she opened 4 years ago. Siddharth destroyed his own soul to buy her time. Surrendering to the weapon now would erase the only value left in his sacrifice. Shruti drops the gun. She speaks into the empty car, choosing to carry the weight of her trauma and the guilt of survival, rather than stepping into the void. Survival is sustained by the active daily decision to keep living in spite of the trauma. That defiance is the only barrier the darkroom cannot penetrate.